All right, Jim, what do we have here?
Well, this is one of the cars that we use for photography on brochure shots as well as some film work. But the challenge with this one was to be able to get the car accessible to camera and lights much easier than it would be if the car was left intact just like this. So our challenge was, well, how do we end up with a car that looks complete and untouched, and at the same time be able to take it apart to be able to give access to both lights and cameras. You can imagine trying to shove that into the car in its current configuration would be a tough thing to do. So this car completely comes apart piece by piece to allow cameras and lights to be inserted wherever you want to.
Didn't your guys drive it here? Or they drove it around, right? So it's completely running and functional.
It's drivable, because that was the other side of the challenge, was to be able to not only use this car as a cutaway for photography like that, but to also be able to then put it back together and use it for running shots, on the highway.
Yeah, so the doors aren't held on by Velcro. They're actually bolted on in some capacity.
Everything's bolted on, and all the fabrication was done over a long period of time.
Wow. So what we're going to do is I think we'll do a little time lapse and let you guys do what you do and just show through the magic of the sped up camera. Not too sped up, though.
Right.
You guys work fast. How much can be done to this car in terms of taking it apart in a very short period of time? Okay. All right, so we're going to set up for that. We'll step out and we'll step back when they're done. Wow. Jim, I really thought we were talking about like rolling down the windows and
opening the sunroof.
Maybe popping off one of the rims. I did not, when you said the roof, I didn't, because I was
just comes apart. I didn't think you were taking the windshield out.
I was just standing next to the car and I didn't see any seams, cuts, or anything. So this is unbelievable.
You want us to do this to your car? Which one of your cars would you like to have like this?
Wait a minute. I remember this scene from Smokey and the Bandit. Wow, your mama should have had an abortion. Hold my hat on.
I'm gonna punch your mama right in the mouth.
Yeah, I'll drive. You hold my hat on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a cowboy hat. Wow. And yeah, I guess when you need this, when the camera's out, you're trying to get this shot where it's dolling across this way, and that beauty shot of the dashboard. If there's a roof and a pillar, you're not going to make it.
So one of the things that was done way back when I first got into the business was when the doors had come off, obviously, then we have to pull a steering wheel off to try and get a camera and a light pushed in here. And one of the things we saw with that was boy, that's a pretty crude way to do it. And then we looked around, and some of the prop departments were literally taking a Sawzall and cutting the roof of the car off.
Yeah, I mean, no.
They just cut it off, and then that was the end of the life of the car. They get all the shots they wanted, but it would basically cost you a car by doing that. So we thought, you know what, there's got to be a better way to do that, and that's where we started looking for, all the standard points on a standard car. That's where we would make the cuts, and the attachment points and all of this, so that literally when it goes back together, you can't see any of the cuts on this anywhere.
Do you use like what we'd call in the carpentry world, like blind nuts on the back side?
Some of them.
Where you'd have to reattach, because these weren't made to be pulled apart and then put back together again.
If you look at all the wiring harness, with all the clips, I mean, you tend to forget when you even look at some of these things that there's electrical that runs through, this whole part of the car too, that you've got to be able to.
So these harnesses, you have to cut, and then you make your own attachment points, and then so when they're removable, you've created these plugs, these splices in the whole system.
If we can find a point on the car where it's already there's an attachment point, it makes it easy for us. That's what we'll do. But if we have to, we'll pick up our own plugs. And rewire that part of the car at that point so that we can't pull it apart.
One of my worst automotive days was I was putting flares on my Z car, and I was in the rear, and I was cutting out the rear sheet metal with my Sawzall, and when I got through it, noticed 2 pieces of a wiring harness that I plowed.
I thought you were going to say the tire was on there, and you went right through the tire as well.
Just a helpful household tip.
Well, you can kind of see right here.
Yeah.
Look at what exists running through a car that you don't realize.
Oh no, I realized it.
Yeah, so you cut right through that, didn't you?
And I'm saying, when you're using a Sawzall and it's fighting you, and you're like, "What the hell is that?" And then it gets really easy afterward.
Yeah.
There's probably something in there.
Yeah, more than likely.
Learn that the hard way. Wow, Jim, this is impressive. It's really amazing. So, if you own a car manufacturer, wait a minute. Now, I want to send people to your website.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think, unless you're Honda or
But you have the
Lexus.
transport business as well now, right?
Yeah, well, we have, LA Prep, which takes care of all the prep side of this. Then we have a transportation division that moves all these cars around the country.
That's what I need you for.
This is is super high-end, like white glove transportation service. They deliver the best cars in the world.
Yeah,
both will be working hard during this upcoming Monterey adventure.
We are. In fact, we're transporting cars into Monterey and out of Monterey for the event up there.
Hey, there's this thing called the Quail.
Yeah, that as well. We can do that as well.
For my own transportation.
And so,
all right. So let's throw out the website then.
So the transportation website is lapreptransport.com, and so if you go on there, there's actually a page on there for a quick quote on what it would cost to have your car transported.
What your zip code is and where or area code or whatever, or zip code, and then where you're going.
Yes.
And it'll give you a quote.
And we'll give you a quote back on that.
I
so
like that.
That's lapreptransport.com.
I'm going to do it just for fun, just to figure out how much money I'm out.
That's right. So we know how much to eat when we get to the Quail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to calibrate how much champagne we're going to drink, and look out because qualifying is Friday morning. So I'm not doing anything until Saturday. So look out, booze.
Oh,
here comes the
I see
ace
what you're
man.
saying.
Yeah.
And then the LA Prep, the other side of the business, what's the website for that?
That's laprepinc.com.
Okay.
So that's for the whole prep side of our business.
All right.
Excellent.
So thank you so much, Jim. Until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Jim Kirby and Matt the Motorator, DeAndrea saying, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.